Welcome to Eat for Life Nutritional Therapy. I'm Samantha Gilbert, founder of Eat for Life. I'm a nutritional therapy counselor specializing in a functional nutrition approach to supporting methylation imbalances. If you're new to methylation, here's what you need to know. Methylation is a chemical reaction that occurs in every cell and tissue in your body except red blood cells. It regulates many substances necessary for your body to function. Your body has an on-off switch for certain hormones, neurotransmitters, enzymes, and chemicals. These switches are called methyl groups. A methyl group is made up of one carbon atom bonded with 3 hydrogen atoms. These methyl groups can drastically shift how you think, feel, and act. They can even influence whom you choose to marry and what career path you pursue. During methylation, methyl groups are added to your DNA. These groups control DNA by binding to genes and telling them whether to express themselves or not. Methyl groups bind differently in different cell types. For example, they bind one way in a skin cell and another way in a liver cell. This is part of how a liver cell knows it's a liver cell. Methyl groups are chemically dormant, so when they attach to a protein, they change how that protein responds to other substances in the body. And this is methylation in action. Methylation deeply affects enzymes, hormones, and neurotransmitters, many of which are proteins. It also plays a key role in your body's ability to detoxify. Now let's talk about epigenetics, which is the science of how genes behave throughout your life and whether those changes can be passed to your children and grandchildren. It's closely connected to mental health and neurotransmitter regulation. And methylation is one epigenetic pathway. Here's what this means. Your DNA stays the same, but epigenetic tags called single nucleotide polymorphisms, or SNPs, change throughout your life. These tags decide which genes turn on and which stay off. These changes aren't permanent. They happen over your lifetime, especially during major transitions like puberty, menopause, and pregnancy. They also occur from emotional stress, poor diet, and environmental toxins like air pollution and contaminated water. Epigenetics is controlled by histones, protein spools that DNA wraps around. Histones adjust how tightly or loosely DNA winds around them. Loosely wound DNA allows genes to express more. Tightly wound DNA means less expression. Think of methyl groups as a switch and histones as a dial. Every cell in your body has a unique histone and methylation pattern, and this gives your cells their instructions. Overall methylation status matters most and can't be determined by genetic testing alone, like the MTHFR test and the resulting one-size-fits-all treatment methylfolate, because the MTHFR test isn't an accurate assessment or appropriate guide for true methylation disorders. At best, it's only 30% expressive. Many people also believe MTHFR is part of the primary methylation pathway. While MTHFR is a powerful methylating enzyme in one part of your system, it's actually part of the backup pathway, not the primary one. And it certainly doesn't play a prominent role in mental health. As I mentioned, methyl groups control DNA by binding to genes and telling them whether to express themselves or not. I don't know about you, but I'm not at all comfortable banking my health on something that's only 30% expressive that comes with a significant risk of inaccuracy. Methylation status is determined by a tug of war between enzymes for undermethylation versus enzymes for overmethylation. Whichever group wins determines your methylation status, not one enzyme. Many clients come to me with genetic test results. You may have SNPs showing up, but this doesn't mean those SNPs are causing you any trouble. So what happens when you feed the backup pathway instead of the primary one? Well, your backup gets depleted and you crash. I see this constantly in people taking high doses of methylfolate. They come to me with crippling anxiety, worsening OCD, and depression because folate is a demethylating agent. Loading up on methylfolate, especially by itself, causes neurotransmitter changes, including elevated glutamate and reduced serotonin production. This is why so many undermethylators taking high doses of methylfolate experience frequent adverse reactions, and why so many people come to me with serious side effects from methylfolate supplementation. Now, you may be thinking, but Sammy, every website I visit about methylation recommends methylfolate and promotes the MTHFR paradigm. My doctor even ordered this test for me. Well, unfortunately, something doesn't have to be true for it to be popular. Many people fail to understand the duality of all forms of folate, including folic acid. So why is this? Well, your cells have a nucleus and a cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, outside the nucleus, folate does donate some methyl. But in the nucleus, the cell's command center, where our DNA lies, and where we're trying to create change, it steals 10 times more methyl than it donates. This can disrupt detoxification, enzymes, hormones, and neurotransmitters. In fact, all forms of folate, including folinic acid, methylfolate, folic acid, and even plant-based whole food sources, can steal methyl at the level of DNA. I created my low folate cookbook to help people understand this duality and provide nutritional therapy support for undermethylated individuals. By the way, methylfolate is not a superior form of folate. It's merely a different form that is very short-lived and remarkably limited in function. The methylation cycle spins millions of times per second. Do you know how often methylated folate actually works? One time out of a million cycles, and it's done for the day. Methylfolate does not have the power most people think it does. So what happens in undermethylation? Well, we don't genetically make enough methyl groups to support enzymes, hormones, and neurotransmitters. As a result, you'll likely experience lowered levels of serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. When these neurotransmitters don't function properly, you may feel depressed, anxious, and struggle with OCD or ADHD. Asperger's, eating disorders, and autism are also strongly correlated with undermethylation. We get our methylation status in utero from one or both parents. Most families I work with exhibit a pattern of certain types of behaviors and disorders, such as OCD and ADHD, which you may notice in your own family. Undermethylators tend to respond well to serotonin-enhancing substances, but trying to increase serotonin doesn't fix the underlying issue. We need functional nutrition and nutrient therapy to support the creation of methyl groups. You may be undermethylated if you're a high achiever constantly striving for greater career accomplishment. Entrepreneurs, corporate executives, professional athletes, doctors, and lawyers all fit this biotype. Yet, despite many accomplishments and accolades, you struggle with severe inner turmoil behind a calm exterior. You're likely highly perfectionistic and strong-willed, with obsessive-compulsive tendencies, usually focusing on just one or two areas. Despite poor concentration, ritualistic behaviors help you feel in control. You may have a tendency toward addiction. You may also isolate yourself socially because you feel misunderstood and struggle with phobias and constant rumination. Headaches, low pain tolerance, seasonal allergies, and in women, menstrual cycle irregularities are also common in undermethylation. In my clinic, I approach methylation imbalances from a functional, holistic perspective. This includes appropriate lab work and a comprehensive plan designed to support the creation of methyl groups, blood sugar support, hormones, brain function, and gut health. I provide personalized guidance and collaborate with your medical care team when needed. My approach gives you clarity on what's causing your anxiety, depression, OCD, or ADHD, creates stability, and shows progress over time, all with a customized plan based on your unique needs. So if you're struggling with many of the symptoms associated with undermethylation, I encourage you to book a free discovery call with me to see how I can help you and if we're a good fit.